right, talking now about Threads, the new social media app launched by tech giant Meta. Now, that's continued to gain traction following its recent launch. More than 100 million users have already signed up in the last 5 days. And with the way things are going, Threads will only attract more users, putting Twitter and other social media competitors in a tough spot. Let's bring in Brad Erickson, RBC Capital Markets Internet Equity Analyst, to weigh in on this. Good to see you, Brad. So, impressive numbers if you didn't already have a massive user base in Instagram here. Is the signups really the best metric to use when we're thinking about the success of Threads so far?
Yeah, great to see you as well. At this point, right, like any viral platform, social media platform, yes, it's the primary metric by which it will be evaluated, just like ChatGPT earlier this year, and just like any social media platform that came before it, and certainly Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, at this point, that's what we have to go on. And gosh, let's say we're only on day 6 at this point. So we've got a ways to go. Everyone's already having, of course, when are they going to start to make money? When are they going to ramp ads? Clearly, that is a ways off. They've said they won't even think about that probably before 1 billion users. Hard to say if that's in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months or more. But certainly it's too soon to be able to look to them to start, running ads and making more money.
So how much of a knockout punch is this going to be for Twitter?
To be determined. We will see. I think what's interesting is the timing of the fact that Meta has launched this right now. I think there's a pretty strong perception, and we talk to advertisers actually that advertise on Meta, on Google, on Twitter, and other platforms, and it certainly seems like there's been deterioration in the eyes of advertisers on Twitter. And so I think you can make the argument that they are quite exposed, maybe possibly the most exposed they've ever been competitively. So I do think it's very interesting that that Meta has launched Threads at this particular moment. And certainly they're already up to a kind of a quarter, or roughly a quarter of Twitter's former base. And so we'll see. They're off to a great start.
And I want to ask about perhaps some of the downsides for Meta on this. Obviously, they have this family of apps that includes, WhatsApp and Instagram. So then any concerns about cannibalization when you're looking at where Threads goes from here?
Yeah, certainly, yes. We have those concerns. I think, Meta has a distribution advantage, right? What that means is that they can take people who are already on Instagram, whether that's newsfeed, stories, or reels, and they can push them, right? They can suggest that they go to another surface, in this case, Threads. And if that takes time away from those surfaces, right, those existing surfaces, reels, newsfeed, stories, those monetize at the highest levels that the company has. And so if you move that traffic over to Threads where they're not monetizing, it's a headwind to the business. Now, the argument that opposes that is that, historically, people were not using, say, TikTok versus Twitter, right? They're kind of different use cases, different aspirations. And so from that perspective, if we think that people are going to sort of roughly use Threads in the same way that they've used Twitter, that would suggest that it would largely be incremental and, of course, a nice positive for the business longer term. I think it's too soon to say which of those will play out. I think we're in the more optimistic camp.
So then when you think of some of the advancements that Meta has made, obviously to rival a TikTok by having reels and other things, some of these shorter form videos, do you think how likely is this to follow that same sort of success, given the success that they've seen with, say, reels?
Yeah, I think we'll kind of have to see. This is a whole new world for Meta, right? This is a totally different sort of vector of social media that they haven't played with. And they, I'm sure they're in a giant learning phase of seeing how their user base adopts this, engages with it, spends time on it, engages with content and potentially ads. So I think we're at a very sort of early point there. I think they had a lot of experience with social media channels that lended towards the use of short form video, which is why they've made that transition, I think, relatively seamlessly over the last 3 years. I think in the case of a more sort of Twitter town hall type product, they're probably going to have to iterate the product a lot from a product standpoint before they get a better sense of how they can utilize it and, of course, monetize it.
And of course, it helps that, you're able to invest in Meta versus, Twitter being private. But we knew that a lot of companies were going to try and fill that vacuum, come up with their own version of Twitter once, advertisers starting pulling back after Elon Musk took over. Are there any then other good successes, you think, other than Meta with Threads that could also, now that they've seen that there are some cracks here for Twitter, that could also step into the space?
There's been several upstarts, and I think generally what you've seen is they've gotten off to kind of a good little viral start, and then they've kind of fizzled out, and the user growth dies pretty quickly, and in many cases at levels far below what Meta has already achieved in just the 5 or 6 days. So I think we're in the camp again that Meta is uniquely positioned, has a structural distribution advantage to be able to roll this product out, get it in front of people, and hopefully compel the content creators, right? The people who are really putting out sort of the provocative ideas, the things that compel people to come to a town hall type forum to participate. That's what will drive the virality here. And again, as we said, they're off to a great start.
Indeed. Brad Erickson, thank you so much for joining me this morning. RBC Capital Markets
Thanks.
Internet Equity Analyst. Thank you so much.